Hey Luminary, are you ready to start your work week? Well, in today's Sunday episode, so you can plan your best week ever, I'm actually going to be giving you the lowdown of all of May's highlights, as well as dive into the details of the week ahead of May 2nd through 8th. All right, buckle in. Welcome to the Savvy Luminary podcast, Astrology for Entrepreneurs. I'm your host, Leslie Tagorda, creator of the Astro Brand Method, business astrologer, brand designer, author, and Aquarius boss woman. I help visionary spiritual entrepreneurs and impact makers like you illuminate and amplify your unique star powers so you can be the luminary you were born to be. So I wanted to check in with you and curious to see how you are doing. Last week was a pretty big week with Pluto coming to a standstill and then going on its annual retrograde cycle. And it's always at that kind of switch, right at that beginning of that big shift with Pluto, that we kind of feel the distillation and the intensity kind of drilling in. And the reason why I'm bringing this up is that I noticed in the Savvy Luminary, when I had posed the question if anybody had late degree of cardinal or earth signs between 24 and 26 degrees, because Pluto will be highlighting Capricorn of 24 and 26 degrees. And so if you have any natal energies in the cardinal or earth signs of that 24 to 26 degree orb, then you have natal planets that are being asked to evolve, asked to purify, asked to being cleansed so that you can go on to that next stage of transformation, of necessary transformation in your greater evolutionary arc as in your life and in your business. And when I asked that question, I was astounded by the number of people that raised their hand in my Facebook group, the Savvy Luminary, saying they had energies in cardinal degrees of 24 to 26 degrees, earth signs, Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn, that they had natal energies there. And I thought about it for a little bit, wondering, wow, what is it with everybody who has all of these planets in those degrees being asked to evolve right now? Pluto is going backwards half the year, and it's not necessarily this big deal that Pluto goes backwards. But when I start to see this kind of pattern where a lot of us are getting these nudges, these, whether they're outer nudges or inner nudges of transformation, this really shows me that all of us are here on this path to really change the world and live out Pluto stories, to tear down the old, to make space for the new to come in. So the reason why I'm bringing this up is that May is going to give us a lot of that continued energy, where in April, we had all of the sparks and these new ideas and these fresh ideas coming to us and saying, yay, we get to finally get started after a really almost like a gap year. It feels like 2020, even though so many things have happened, it almost feels like it's going to be kind of just like washed from our memories, that we either it's too painful to remember, or we were bogged down with so many responsibilities, holding down, being a mother, being a business owner, all of these things that 2020 just got, it almost feels like it vanished, right? And so that when in April, this past April, we finally have that energy of like this flush of the fresh air, fresh ideas. And now in May, we're going to continue that, taking the ideas that we really want to start to plant and sow for our next part of the transformation that we're going to have, so that we can build shared values in our business. I've been saying ever since the end of 2020 that as we're coming into this new evolution as a collective, that leadership is going to start to look different. And you can already see that, at least in the United States, when we had that big changing of the guard with President Biden and his new administration. Thank you, thank you, thank you. But we're going to see more things like that. We're going to see underdogs and normally marginalized communities start to be lifted up, being elevated. So no matter how big or small you are, no matter how So maybe you're kind of like me, where sometimes you just feel like your voice is so insignificant. Get ready, because we are all here to do our part. And May is going to be that month where we get to pour our money and our resources and everything that we want to invest in into our values, so that we can express and contribute our wisdom to the world. So let's dive in. So in May, we have quite a lot of shifts going on. And what you're going to notice is that over the last, year, of course, your values have shifted significantly, right? What was once true for you in terms of what you value, how you add value through your business, and how you build value may no longer be the same. For some of us who have programs that are a year long, if you're trying to launch it, you might see people saying like, hey, I just can't commit to a year anymore. I don't want to commit like that. Or if you started to start offering shorter segmented things, or smaller ways of committing, that you might be having a bigger influx. I'm definitely noticing those shifts. And so we have to be flexible in our businesses to go with that flow, especially since in April we had so much cardinal energy to start things. And then in Taurus, we had all of this energy to maintain and dig in. And then now in the middle of May, as we start to even shift again, now we get to be more mutable and go with the flow. And so this, to me, if you have a lot of mutable energy like me, so if you have a lot of Gemini or Sagittarius or Pisces or Virgo, this is going to feel like that kind of opening, that shift of energy that's going to allow you to be in that flow. So in May, it's during this month that we are all going to break free from our shoulds. Well, maybe that's a big aspiration, saying that we are all going to break free, but we are going to have the energy and the support from the stars to break free from all the old shoulds and the responsibilities and the duties, so that we can build new containers of sustainable and reciprocal value through our spiritual businesses. May's cosmic shifts are here to support you with all of this energy, so you can build your worth, not by judging how much money you have in the bank, although we want to definitely build that, but by the contributions you are pouring into the world with your genuine star power. You have a responsibility to recognize your unique and diverse superpowers. And as that gift of recognition in our superpowers, it is our responsibility to then share those superpowers into the world. It is a gift and a responsibility. So last month, while you were able to envision what it means to be a leader and to start to take aligned initiative in your business, in May, you're going to have the star powers on your side to recognize the old paradigms that you've outgrown and need to break free from, and how to express your big message based on the value you contribute to the world. I was speaking with somebody the other day about, she was mentioning, one of my clients was mentioning how she really was resistant to marketing, and that she always felt that it was so salesy. But after we were going through our session and I was talking to her about her value and how marketing isn't really about trying to get somebody to sell something, or it isn't really trying to just sell something, it's really about sharing value and sharing information. And when I gave her that permission to start building that relationship based on, hey, I have this wonderful piece of information to share. Look at all of these great things that I'm bringing into it, instead of this place of like, oh, buy this now. She felt so free. And so in May, we're going to have all of this Gemini energy to create dialogue and engage others over our shared values. So you're going to get really clear on your value and how you're meant to contribute, and the cosmos is here to support you and your spiritual business. So, in May's Star Powers, we are all going to get the energy to know your value and invest in what you value. You're going to be able to harness beauty, imagination, and gratitude to express your value. You're going to be breaking old rules to create new structures for equitable change. Yes. You're going to unlearn outdated truths and let it go with a bang. And then lastly, you're going to make space for rethinking your new truths and reality, because this month our highlights all of these big shifts that we're going to be seeing. So first of all, on May 3rd, Mercury will be entering its home sign of Gemini. Mercury rules both Gemini and Virgo, and in Gemini, it's the kind of, it's socializing, it's chatty, it is sharing information, it's teaching, it's learning all these different perspectives and understanding its own truth. And then shortly later, 5 days later, on May 8th, Venus, our ability to connect and create relationships, and also connect ourselves to money and resources and the beauty that we need in our world, she's going to be joining Mercury in Gemini on May 8th. She'll be leaving her home sign of Taurus, where she was able to luxuriate, and now she is finally ready to get out there and socialize. This feels like such hopeful energy after not being able to socialize. Somebody earlier sent me a Facebook message and said, "Are you open to meeting in person for a coffee chat?" And oh my gosh, my heart just exploded, because it was my first invitation to meet a complete, like somebody I hadn't known before, and then to meet outside in the wild, so to say, not over Zoom. And it almost brought a tear to my eye, because I forgot how much joy that brings me with meeting people, makes my Gemini rising so happy. Then later in the month, on May 13th, Jupiter will be leaving Aquarius and entering its traditional home sign of Pisces, where it's going to be in the emotional, sensational, watery vastness. But Jupiter is only going to spend a little bit of time there until July before it retrogrades back to Aquarius. So it'll be just dipping its toes into Pisces for a couple of degrees and really making a splash. And then on May 20th, the Sun joins Venus and Mercury in chatty and social and intellectual Gemini on May 20th. Then on May 23rd, just a few days later, we have our Saturn that's going to start its retrograde, also in Aquarius. Like Pluto, Saturn is one of our outer planets, so it appears to go retrograde for half the year. And then the thing that we've all been waiting for, I've already been getting calls and inquiries about, oh gosh, what should I do to prepare for Mercury retrograde? There is nothing to freak out about if you know what to do with this energy and work with it instead of against it. But at the very end of May, on May 29th, Mercury will start its second retrograde of 2021 in its home sign of Gemini. So if you're normally affected by miscommunications with Mercury going in Gemini, like if you have a strong natal Mercury, meaning it's like in Gemini or Virgo and it's going really quick and it's you're really quick on your feet, then this Mercury retrograde might damper you a little bit. It's going to feel a little bit stronger than any of the Mercury retrogrades that we had over last year. So from the beginning of May until May 29th, you have plenty of time to start getting prepared, backing up your files, updating your software well before Mercury even goes into the shadow zone. So those are the highlights. On top of the highlights, we have our 2 lunation cycles. We have our beautiful Taurus new moon at Taurus of 21 degrees on May 11th. I'll be celebrating with Natalie Miller on May 13th with our new moon ceremony, where we'll be talking about plentitude. So if you'd like to join us for that ceremony and get your new moon activation mini astrobrad reading, head over to thesavvyluminary.com/new moon. And then we have our first eclipse of 2021, our full moon eclipse in Sagittarius at 5 degrees on May 26th. This first full moon eclipse is near the south node, so it is going to be a wonderful full moon to let all of your old belief systems go. We had a really powerful full moon in April with our Scorpio full moon, but this one is going to feel much more seismic. It's kicking off our eclipse eclipse season because at the following new moon, our June new moon in Gemini, we will have another eclipse on the same day of the midpoint of Mercury. So be prepared for lots of surprises and insights with this upcoming eclipse season, working on the Sagittarius Gemini axis of your big message and what you're here to share with the world. So those are your highlights for May. Let's dig into the Business StarCast Astrology for Entrepreneurs for the week of May 2nd through 8th. So this week's theme, this first full week of May, the theme really is about communication and impact, because what is really striking off this theme is Mercury coming into a harmonious trine with Pluto. Mercury will be at Taurus of 26 degrees in supportive flow with Pluto at 26 degrees at exactly 2:19 a.m. Pacific, 5:19 a.m. Eastern. Mercury, because it's approaching the retrograde cycle, Mercury isn't as zipping as quickly as it normally is. It's starting to slow down already. And the theme of this energy is your said truths have power. So in your businesses, what messages are making an impact on your understanding now? This is a wonderful time to start fine-tuning your messages for grounded practical impact. You know, this transit is still a couple of days away from when I'm recording this, but I'm already feeling this. For example, I'm hearing customers tell me the same things over and over and over again, which is like really reaffirming some of my messaging that I need to hone into. So be curious to hear if other people, if you hear consistent messages from the universe or from your clients or from your loved ones, making a really big impact on your understanding. Take them as signs from the universe. So for a few days before and a few days after the exact trine, you will have the support of the cosmos to ground some of your big impact messages. For example, if you've been struggling with your big message or being too vague, and being too vague is not being specific or using words that might be in the zeitgeist, yet you are not defining them in your own terms. That's what I mean by being vague. So if you hear yourself using words like empowerment, what does empowerment mean to you? If you hear yourself using words like transformation, what does transformation mean to you? It's those kinds of words that all of us spiritual entrepreneurs use. I'm not blaming you, I'm just pointing things out. I do it too. And I'm always asking myself to be more clear. If you notice that you're using those kinds of big general terms, use this time to get really clear on what those big transformational words mean to you in your business. And tapping into your unique sun sign, the what you do so well, is going to give you so much insight into getting specific around these kinds of vague empowerment words. The energy of today is going to give you the grounding you need to clarify in a way that is so clear, so step by step, yet with powerful impact. Again, notice signs and messages from others or the universe that may impact and simplify your thoughts. I am just astounded because this medicine, what I'm sharing with you has been so 100% spot on for me. Again, the details, the astro techie nerdy details of this transit: Mercury at Taurus 26 degrees in supportive, harmonious trine flow with Pluto at Capricorn 26 degrees. Look to the late degrees of earth signs in your natal chart. If you have planets or energies in these late degree of earth signs, you will get a supportive boost there. On Monday, May 3rd, we have a huge day with not one, not two, but four cosmic energetic shifts happening in the span of 24 hours. And we are focusing all of these energies on simplifying your thoughts in order to make a bigger social impact through your business. In the wee hours, Mercury squares off with Jupiter, and then the sun squares off with Saturn, all in fixed signs. So if you have strong fixed energies like Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, and Aquarius, especially if your rising sun or moon signs are in these fixed signs, you will especially be feeling this. And then later on in the day, we have our fourth quarter moon in Aquarius, where it's time to let go and relax with your friends and chat the night away as Mercury enters its home sign of engaging Gemini. A lot of big things. So first off, on May 3rd, we have Mercury squaring Jupiter at exactly 2:33 a.m. Pacific, 5:33 a.m. Eastern, where your communications can go far. What understanding now inspires your capacity to expand your vision and beliefs? This is a wonderful time to simplify your big message for social impact. So make sure that you spend some time on that Monday the 3rd, to write, to journal, to work on emails, or even if you don't have anything that you need to edit or create in terms of content, sit down and like work on your values, work on your unique value proposition or your elevator pitch, all of those things. This is the day. And because we also have that fourth quarter moon in Aquarius, bounce some ideas of your message with some friends, right? So greater awareness and newfound belief shows you where you need to change and simplify your messages to be more innovative and have more social impact. For a few days leading up to and a few days following, you may feel the urge to streamline your big impact messages. You may now have the clarity and belief in your uniqueness, yay, for which you are compelled to share with your larger communities. Change the world with this new clarity. Really, we need you to change the world. No matter how small or big you think your part is, you are here to change this world. For the details, Mercury at Taurus of 28 degrees, squaring off with Jupiter in Aquarius at 28 degrees. Look to the late degrees of Earth and fixed signs in your natal chart. If you have planets or energies, these will be activated and add to your clarity. So later on that morning at exactly 3:02 a.m. Pacific and 6:02 a.m. Eastern, the sun will be squaring off with Saturn, where our limitations have gifts. What creative excess is holding you back? What can you limit to create more freedom? For a few days before and after, you will find creative vibrancy in your limitations. This can be so freeing to work within tight confines and restraints. I know personally with like design work, when a client has some very specific things that they want in their designs, like they have like a certain color or a certain shape that they really want us to work with, we can create so many variations based on their limiting restraints on what they want us to design. On the other hand, when a client's like, oh, we just love everything that you do, just come up with something that you like. And when we have like no restraints, oh my gosh, this is when we get stuck because now there are too many options that are available. So have you ever felt anything like this in your work? Often, when we have tight frameworks from which we can operate, our creativity soars in what's possible with these new constraints. Notice how you're being asked to work with less and how this restriction is juicing your creativity. For the Astro Details, the sun will be at Taurus 13 degrees, squaring off with Saturn in Aquarius of 13 degrees. Look to 13 degrees plus or minus of fixed signs in your natal chart. If you have planets or energies in these areas near 13 degrees of fixed signs, these will be activated and add to your creative tension. That's exciting. All right, still on Monday, right around midday at 12:50 p.m. Pacific, 3:50 p.m. Eastern, we have our fourth quarter moon of Aquarius when it hits exactly 13 degrees and 35 minutes, where the theme for the next few days will be relax and be with friends, because it's during this well, it's not exactly balsamic moon, but that waning last quarter of moon, we're doing that inner integration. So, what can you easily do today with friends to get some inner emotional clarity, right? Like I mentioned, if you're working on your big messages, this would be a great time to work with, do a co-working session and spend the time sharing your ideas and reflecting back to see if things are clear, if things are meaningful, if things have impact. So it's a great day to relax with friends. I just said, why don't you do a co-working session? Because for me, I just love working so much that relaxing and working is often the same, but maybe not for you. I encourage you to take a break and play in whatever makes your heart feel happy. This last quarter moon phase is an internal integration phase in our lives and businesses. When you slow down to review all you've done to work towards your intentions, you have the chance to internalize all that's happened. This is your time to cultivate all that you have learned and assess what you want to continue with and what you want to revise. It's time to compost and churn back what is not needed as nourishment for the seeds you've planted. With this Aquarius fourth quarter moon, spend some of this inner integration time relaxing with your friends, sharing your hopes and dreams. And then later that evening, Mercury jumps into its home sign of Gemini at exactly 7:49 p.m. Pacific, 10:49 p.m. Eastern. Now our thoughts are quick and curious. What information during these next few weeks will you share to engage? Mercury returns to its home sign of Gemini for an extended stay of 6 weeks now through July 12th. While at home in chatty Gemini, Mercury is particularly strong while moving forward, taking care of business through sharing ideas, teaching, writing, and all things communication. You may have a ton to say and share, but remember, Gemini at its highest is about being curious and listening too. In a few weeks, Mercury will step on the brakes to begin its second retrograde cycle, where you will get to rethink, reflect, and re understand to gain more clarity. Your thoughts will be moving quickly during these first few days, so be sure to always have a notepad or your note app handy to capture your quick ideas. On Thursday, May 6th, we have Venus in harmonious trine with Pluto in retrograde at exactly 4:25 a.m. Pacific, 7:25 a.m. Eastern on that Thursday. And this is the energy, the power to manifest and maybe overdo. What now feels gratefully easy and impactful? What do you need to notice so that it doesn't go overboard? A few days leading up to and leading away, you could see deep and meaningful relationships and investments manifest or climax. This could be really wonderful, yet there is some caution to not go overboard. Energies can feel magnetic and powerful, and yes, that feels amazing, yet there's great potential for this enthusiasm to teeter on the compulsiveness or overzealousness. Enjoy this time and notice what manifests when it comes to support from the right people and the right resources. And be wise with investing all your energies or money in one basket. The Astro Details, Venus at Taurus of 26 degrees, trining with Pluto retrograde in Capricorn of 26 degrees. Look to 26 degrees of earth signs in your natal chart. If you have planets or energies near that degree, they will add support and flow. Fixed or cardinal energies around that 26 degrees will add some creative friction. And then the last day of the week on Saturday, May 8th, it is another big day with Venus squaring off with exuberant Jupiter before moving into chatty Gemini. What a great way to start your week. So Venus, anytime she squares with any planet, it's really never that hard. And when she's squaring with another lucky planet, like Venus and Jupiter, they're like the lucky planets of the solar system. When they square off, it's kind of like that creative friction, that spark of a lighter that like turns on a sparkler or something, or a firecracker, something really fun. So this is the day to have some fun, be generous, yet still mindfully. Don't go overboard. What fun social tasks can be had on this Saturday? Have fun. Yet again, warning, don't overdo it. With Jupiter, you can easily overdo it. This continues to be your theme for the next few days leading up to and away from this exact square off. This feels like a social time where you get to exchange your big, socially conscious ideas of social justice with your larger communities, where you get to share your value systems and expand on them. Part of Taurus season, for which we are still in, is about putting our money where our values are. So you may feel the urge to invest in some big dreams. And yes, invest in your big dreams, but not in such a way that will overburden you. With Jupiter involved, we can sometimes break off more than we can handle. This energy can be expansive, joyful, and fun. Go for it. And be mindful about what you can handle. This would not be a good time to have any remorse. For the astro details, Venus is at Taurus of 29 degrees, squaring off with Aquarius. With Jupiter at Aquarius of 29 degrees. Notice the final degree of fixed signs. Now, when any planet is at that 29 degree, that last degree of a sign, it can cause some of the shadows to appear. So, shadows for both Taurus and Aquarius. Taurus shadows may be excessive and have difficulties letting go, like kind of hoarding and not just like hoarding in your house, but hoarding money or overeating, those kinds of things. While in Aquarius, shadows can veer on the side of feeling excluded or too much like an outlier or a rebel. If you feel this energy come up instead of the fun generosity, get curious with your personal experiences of sharing wealth or sharing your wild ideas. This energy passes rather quickly, so any hard feelings that you may have will pass quickly too. And then later that day, Venus leaves her home sign of Taurus and enters Gemini exactly 7:01 p.m. Pacific, 10:01 p.m. Eastern on that Saturday. This seems like a really great energy to maybe have a party. I don't know if people are having parties or dinner parties, but having an evening party sounds like really fun to do, where you get to connect over shared interests and dialogue. What connections can you make with those with whom you can chat endlessly? Now through June 3rd, Venus, our connection to the people and resources we need to succeed, is gliding through social Gemini, where she wants to connect with others through intellect, engaging dialogue, and shared ideas. When Venus is in Gemini, your values scatter a bit as everything holds interest. Life is so fascinating. This isn't the time to commit to any single relationship or interest. Instead, use this energy to meet new people over shared interests. Join or start a writing group or book club. Let your mind lead with connecting you to the right people and resources you need. Oh, and if you've had a hard time connecting over social or blocks with your communications, Venus is here to send you some love in this area. If you have any planetary energies or angles, like your rising descendant, midheaven, or IC in Gemini, over the next few weeks, lucky Venus will be sharing her sparkles with you. So, for all that Gemini energy, yay, Venus, thank you. Well, that's all I have for the Business StarCast highlights for May and this first week of May, May 2nd through 8th. I know that was quite a bit to dig into. Our next episode dropping on Wednesday, I'll be joining Natalie Miller of Mind Witchery. She has a beautiful podcast. She is a gifted coach and has such a magical way about talking about the things that are really meaningful that allow us to live a plentiful life. So we're going to be really sparking into that Taurus energy about how do we live with this feeling of fullness and plentiness, and how can we reckon with us ourselves individually feeling abundant when so many people live in lack. So it's such a beautiful conversation. I can't wait for you to hear it. Again, I'll be joining Natalie Miller, so stay tuned. All right, that's all I have for now. Thank you. If you enjoyed this episode, please consider leaving a rating and review on Apple iTunes.